Hey there, Adam the beekeeper. In one of our previous episodes, we've seen that both of these hives have made it through winter. However, my first hive here didn't have a queen in it. I went out this morning and picked up a new queen bee from one of our local beekeepers, and I'm going to introduce it to the hive today. Now we've got a cool few days coming up here, so I want to make sure to place the queen right with the cluster to make sure they keep her warm and she's able to survive the next couple of days coming up here. And one of the other things I've read about this is a good sign if you're able to just brush the bees off. So they're trying to accept her if they're like trying to feed her. But if you can't brush them off, they're trying to like sting her in there. We'll take a look at that here in a second and see what that looks like. So just to get a view here, you can see this is that queen cage right here. And we're able to brush the bees off pretty nicely. They're not really sticking on here too bad. That's really a good sign, but we're going to go ahead and leave her. I spent $45 on this queen, so I just want to make sure that she's accepted. But we'll leave her here for a few more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and push her down in, and we'll button this thing back up. So again, you can see I'm just kind of brushing the bees off. That's a good sign there. So I'm going to go ahead and button it up. Everything looks like it's going to be okay. We'll go ahead and drop it back in there, and then we'll just squish it right in here. And again, we want to do that where that cluster's at to keep that warmth. And that's it. We'll go ahead and button this one up and get out of here. I would like to give a shout out to Cameron and Reagan. If you guys are watching this, hello! Thanks for tuning in to Adam the Beekeeper, and we'll get right back to it here. All right, so it's been about 72 hours since we've been inside of this hive and put that queen inside of the queen cage inside of here. So the queen releases a pheromone, and that's how the bees know if they either have a queen or they don't, is based on that pheromone. So we put her inside of the queen cage because the bees, if they don't like that pheromone, for whatever reason, they will just ball up the queen and kill her. And I didn't want that to happen, so I left her in the queen cage, tried to get that scent in there, so they kind of gradually accept her there on that side. So it's just for protection purposes. So we're also going to do two other things today. I'm going to make sure that they've accepted her, as well as steal a frame of brood from the far hive there and put it inside of here with some nurse bees to kind of give them a little boost. And then I'm also going to try to mark the queen. So it wasn't a marked queen, so I'm going to try to mark her today as well. So let's dig in. These girls right now are so much quieter than they were the other day. As I kind of indicated, when a hive is queenless, they're really loud and they're kind of roaring. It's almost like mad bees inside of there, and they're super calm right now, so that's a good sign. So as we discussed before, we should be able to just brush the bees off. So that means they've accepted her after 72 hours, and I can still just kind of brush the bees off. If we hadn't accepted her, they'd still be trying to sting her and kill her here, so this is a really good sign. So we're going to go ahead and mark this queen now. All right, so we got the queen in our cage now. I'm going to go ahead and mark her. I'm just going to softly press her up against the plastic, give her a mark, and then I'll release her into the hive. And that's it. We'll go ahead and drop this back down. Let her dry off, and that paint dry, and we'll go ahead and release her into the hive. All right, now what we should expect to see is that she just walks right out onto the frame, no problem. You can see they're already trying to clean her up there. All right, so I'm going to move this entire frame of brood. You can see it's just end to end on both sides over to this hive here. It's got a bunch of nurse bees on there as well, and I'm going to hopefully give this one here a head start. I found the queen on another frame, so we should be okay to use this one here, no problem. right, so that was 72 hours post introducing the queen inside of her cage. Again, we took it easy because of that queen pheromone. We wanted to make sure they would accept her, and best I can tell, they have accepted her. We also stole a frame of brood from this hive and put it into here. There were a bunch of nurse bees on there. The idea is that they're going to basically hatch out these bees. We'll have some additional bees to start to take care of the newer larvae as it goes. So again, just a really good example of why having 2 hives is a good idea for starters. But yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Adam the Beekeeper here, signing off.